today. My name is Michelle Zacco from Cutting Edge Stencils, and I'm excited that you're joining us because we are going to show you how to make some DIY canvas wall art. Let's get started on this project. It is super fun and easy to do, and we think you are going to like it. If you're wondering what I'm doing right now, we have a 2 foot by 3 foot canvas right here, and we are making a faux skyline. We are going to be stenciling this artwork. It's going to have a stenciled flock of cranes. We're going to be using our flock of cranes craft stencil. It's a size small for this project. And we have a bunch of acrylic craft paints over here. And we are going to be pouring our paints. So we have a midnight blue right here. We're going to be pouring them along the edge. Now, if you wondered, how did we figure out where we were going to be positioning our skyline for the blue tape? We actually used this ruler, and we put the ruler down, and we figured about 1/3 up from the section should be where the skyline starts, so that's about 8 inches. We've pre-measured that out, and we've put our tape down, and now we are pouring our acrylic craft paint, and then we are going to be using some brushes to kind of mix this together. Now, this is abstract art, so there really is no going wrong with this. It is whatever you feel like looks good, and at the end of the day, you are going to love your canvas.
Ooh, we're getting a lot of thumbs up and hearts over here.
Okay, so now we have chip brushes. We're going to be using a bunch of chip brushes, and we are using sort of a color washing technique where we are mixing wet paint on a canvas and using because the paint colors are wet, they will be blending together. And we are creating our sort of like ocean-like view. And now you can have brush strokes throughout, but if you want to blend it a little bit more, use like a hash back and forth. There you go, you can blend it in. Or you can kind of keep working with it. And feel free to dab it around.
Where can people purchase our stencil?
Now you can get all the stencils that we're going to be using today over at cuttingedgestencils.com. Use the code Hometalk 2017 to get 20% off your purchase today. And we are just sort of working the colors into each other.
For people just tuning in, what kind of brush is that?
This is a chip brush. It's a basic paintbrush. It's a very inexpensive paintbrush that you can purchase at your local craft store. And we're going to be adding just a little bit more paint. Now we have some paint trays set up over here, and you can always squirt a little bit of your paint into the trays. And then you can work with the paint to kind of mix it together, mix your colors together. And we can go a little bit darker. So let's say we want to make it a little bit darker on the edges. We can work the colors in over here. And don't forget, you can use, you can find the stencils that we're using today, you can get over at cuttingedgestencils.com. Use the code Hometalk 2017 to get that 20% off. Okay, and we are just working our paint. Now, like I said, this is abstract. This is going to be what, abstract means that, it's basically what you see is what you get, and you're going to love your canvas. It's going to look perfect to you.
What kind of paint are you using?
We're using acrylic craft paint, and we've picked these all up at a local craft store, Americana. It's great acrylic craft paint. We're just using, we're going to add a little bit, some drops of brown along the edges. And then some yellow, just to add a little bit more color to it. And then using another chip brush, so we have a whole bunch of these, we're going to work and you can see, I know I'm moving across the canvas over here.
A lot of our viewers said that this looks like fun.
It is a lot of fun. It's really fun to create. It's fun to kind of watch your painting come to life. And then this artwork is very inexpensive to do yourself, and yet it would probably cost you several $100s if you were purchasing it in the store. Use multiple brushes, because as the paint starts to tack up, that means dry a little bit, it becomes just a little bit sticky, and you can kind of work it together, and you can dab it if you want. You want more of a dabbing motion along the edges, kind of gives it sort of a layered look. Or you can kind of work the paint colors together. We are just going to work them along the edges.
What is the code?
Use the code Hometalk 2017 to get the 20% off. Okay, and we're just going to mix some blues back in. Okay, now we're going to peel back. We can always come back in and work with it again. And we do have some brown craft paper located on here. You can either dab your paintbrush to kind of dry it up on the craft paper, or if you have some paper towel handy, dry it on the paper towel. Now we're going to peel back our horizon line. There you go. And we are going to start working on our sky. We're going to give this a couple minutes to dry up a little bit, and then we're going to move the tape down lower so that we can create a sharper line. You can create a sharp line, or you can actually keep it a little bit more free-flowing. You don't have to have that sharpness to it.
For people just tuning in right now, what are we doing?
We are actually working on a piece of canvas artwork, and we are using our really pretty Flock of Cranes stencil. This stencil pattern comes in several sizes. It also comes in a wall size, so it could be used as an all-over on the wall.
Where can they get the stencil?
And you can find the stencil over at cuttingedgestencils.com. Use the code Hometalk 2017 to get 20% off.
Where can you buy a canvas?
You can get it at your local craft store. This is a standard 24 by 36. Okay, so we are going to start working our colors together.
Well, a lot of people are tagging their friends in it, so they're sharing it.
That's a great idea. If you have a crafty friend or a friend who's looking to make some DIY artwork for their home, feel free to share this video. It's a super fun craft, and it's so easy to do. Anybody can complete this work.
Is there any reason you're going side to side on the canvas?
I'm really mixing the colors back and forth, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to use a brush mark to kind of work them together a little bit more, but I'm really spreading them out this way.
One of our viewers wants to know, what blues are we using and why did we choose them?
We chose a range of blues. We have a turquoise and aqua. We have a midnight blue, and you can see them all over here. It's really nice to see all the colors come together. And again, we're going to load up our brush.
Are we using acrylic paints?
Yes, it's acrylic craft paint.
Oh, one of our viewers said you're amazing.
Thank you. If you're enjoying this video, please share it with your friends. And don't forget, all the stencils that we're using today can be found over on cuttingedgestencils.com.
Oh, we have hearts flowing in.
I knew you guys would love this project. So easy to do, and it's going to look amazing once we work on stenciling our flock of cranes into this. And we're going to add a touch of yellow. Let's see, we are almost ready to kind of put down.
One of our viewers asked if we are from New Jersey or Boston.
We are from New Jersey. And we have squirted a little bit too much paint, so we will just use a chip brush to kind of take some of that off. Let's add a little bit more blue into it.
One of our viewers just tuned in now. Did we prep the canvas before this?
It comes pre-primed, so we did not have to prep it. Okay, and now we are just going to start mixing some of our colors.
Can anyone do this project, or is this just for beginners?
Anybody can do this. This is for beginners. I mean, if you're a little bit more advanced, your technique will probably be a little bit more advanced. but this is a great project for anybody. If you are renting, this is the perfect project for you because you can hang a piece of artwork on your walls. Maybe you can't paint a pattern on your wall, but it's a great way to kind of add a little pattern to your life.
One of our viewers asked if we would use a sponge brush at all.
You could totally use a sponge brush. You could use, a chip brush works well.
Oh, we're getting lots of hearts, and everyone's saying that it's gorgeous so far.
We're glad everyone is enjoying this.
Are you waiting for the paint to dry, or are you keeping it wet?
It is wet while we're working with it. It doesn't have to be wet. As it dries up, you can kind of add some layers and some dimension to it.
I might have to just turn our thumbs up right now. Where can someone find the tutorials if they want to do this project?
I'm going to start blurring our skyline a little bit, and then I will answer your question. I'm sorry, what was that again?
Where can someone find the tutorial if they want to do this project?
Oh, you can get that over on hometalk.com/cutting edge stencils.
I don't... Hey, Evelyn, there's no sound. Yeah, there's the sound has cut out.
Okay, so we are just mixing the colors together, and we're kind of layering them, giving it a little bit of dimension here and there. Like I said, this is abstract. Now we are going to start to blur together the skyline so that it doesn't look so, two separate canvases right now. So we are going to blur it a little bit. And we're going to add a little bit more white.
Oh, we got sound back, so everyone's happy. A lot of thumbs up are rolling in.
Good, I'm glad. I hear we cut out for a little while, and that's okay, because I hope that you've been watching us as we've been painting. We are just using a range of blues and some white to kind of make our skyline over here.
For viewers just tuning in, what are we making?
We are sort of making, it's an abstract canvas, and we're using our flock of cranes stencil for this project. You can get the flock of cranes over on our website at cuttingedgestencils.com. And we're going to add some browns.
Oh, a lot of people from the States are tuning in. We have Iowa, Tennessee, North Carolina.
And you can kind of see I'm jumping around the canvas a little bit. I was trying to give this a little bit of time because ideally what we would have done was if this had dried up a little bit, we would have easily been able to kind of seal this back off and kept that crisp line. We're not going to be able to keep it. It's just not dry enough, and that's fine. We're just going to work with it because at the end of the day, we wanted to have a more abstract look than we wanted to have a very crisp, clean look. So this works for us just fine. And
how long is the drying time? One of our viewers is wondering.
I think you're going to give it at least an hour to kind of dry up. You may even a little bit longer before you move forward with stenciling it.
We have people from Minnesota, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania tuning in, Oklahoma. Ooh, even Canada. And India.
Okay, and so we're just blending the pieces together. We kind of like covered up the skyline. It's got a little bit more of an abstract view.
Even our foreign views from Italy and Canada are tuning in.
And you have to remember that once we layer on the flock of cranes, it's going to be as if your eye is going to kind of go to the cranes. It's going to give that appearance that it's the sky. You know, even if it's not crisp and clean, you're going to have that sort of idea.
People are wondering what stencil we're going to be putting on top of this canvas.
We are going to be putting the flock of crayons, and we are going to be moving forward with that in just a minute. So if you guys are, one more minute, we will kind of move forward with that. Is everyone ready to see what this would look like once we layer on the stencil?
Yeah, everyone's excited.
Good, let's move forward. Okay, so now this is kind of the general idea. If once your canvas is painted, you're going to, now we're going to move on. We've already pre-painted one, it's already dried, so we've had a little bit of time. This is what your canvas would look like once you're complete. Now, it's going to look something similar to this because you're going to be layering on the paint. It's going to be ideal to you. So, we have our flock of crayons stencil. Once the canvas is dry, a little painter's trick is to get a brown bag. It acts as very fine grade sandpaper, and what you're going to do is you're just going to quickly rub the canvas down. It's going to remove any sort of if there's any debris from the paint that may be built up, or if you got those bristle brushes, sometimes come off a little bit, and that's fine. Just use this to gently rub it over the canvas, and it acts as a sandpaper. So now we have our flock of crayons stencil. You can see it's a really pretty pattern of the birds migrating. And we have gone ahead and sprayed the back of the stencil with spray adhesive. What you're going to do is you're going to take your stencil outside, well-ventilated area. You're going to lay it down on the back side. How can you tell it's the back? Well, you see our website on the bottom, cuttingedgestencils.com. You're going to flip it over, and from about a foot away, not inside, you're going to spray your stencil with adhesive. This is going to help hold your stencil in place and give you that little crisp, clean project that you're looking for. Now you're going to take your birds and you're going to center them. And for this, we are using a Modern Masters metallic gold. Modern Masters makes a great metallic paint. We're using a 2-inch dense foam roller, and we are going to roll our roller into the gold paint.
Oh, one of our viewers is telling us don't forget to paint the sides.
Oh, definitely. Don't forget to paint the sides. We are going to pop this into a frame, but painting the sides always completes the look.
What kind of foam roller are you using?
A 2-inch dense foam roller, and you can get this roller over on our website at cuttingedgestencils.com. Use the code Hometalk2017 to get 20% off. Now you can see I have rolled our roller into the paint, and now I'm off rolling to make sure I get off any excess paint. So now we're going to paint our flock of birds. We're going to put on a little bit more paint.
Where can they get the stencil?
You can get this stencil over at cuttingedgestencils.com. Use the code HOMETALK2017 to get 20% off. And this pattern does come in several sizes. We're using the small for this project. And so we are just going to paint the birds. They're going to be pretty golden birds flying across our sky. And don't forget to get a lot of the detail of the birds. They have their legs and their wings, and we want to make sure that we get all of it so you can really tell that they are birds.
Where can they find this tutorial?
You can find this complete tutorial over on hometalk.com/cuttingedgestencils, along with all of the links to purchase the items that we've used in this project. And then don't forget, if you are enjoying this video tutorial, please share it with your friends. Okay.
One of our viewers wants to know why you're using a roller and not a brush.
We're just going to take a quick peek. We're using a roller just because we're using one color. It makes it a little bit easier. Oh, those are coming out good. But what I want to do is I just want to make sure that I take a stencil brush and I finish off.
Also, one of our viewers just wants to know what color we're using for gold.
We're using Modern Masters Metallic Gold. And want to make sure I get all the detail of the birds, which is why I'm kind of going back and I'm using a stencil brush. I almost missed one little bird. I'm going to keep him with his flock.
People are wondering why we're doing gold birds instead of any other color birds.
We chose gold just so that it would pop a little bit. And gold and blue tend to be a very trendy color combination this season, so we thought that people would enjoy this. What color combinations would people use? What do they feel that they'd paint the birds in?
A lot of our viewers are saying they would use blackbirds.
Blackbirds, that's interesting. I think that would look great going against the blues also. All right, now we have all of our birds painted, and you can see there's a lot of detail with the birds. They are small, but there's still a lot of detail with them. All right, so we are going to peel this back. Let's reveal our pretty bird. So pretty. Okay, so now we are going to just continue the pattern, and we are going to, this is the point where you don't want it to look like giant squares going across the canvas. So when we position it down here, we're just going to make sure that we choose some of the birds rather than all of the birds.
Well, our viewers are coming in with a bunch of different colors for the birds, like white, brown, dark navy.
Okay, so we are just gonna, and I'm using the stencil to kind of line it up. So you can see now here, I'm using these birds. I'm gonna line it up. It doesn't have to be lined up perfectly. It's just a guide.
What brush are you using?
We are using a small stencil brush, and you can get it over at cuttingedgestencils.com. So I'm gonna go back in, and I'm going to use a roller for some of them, and then I'm gonna finish it off.
Where can people purchase this stencil?
You can get the stencil over at cuttingedgestencils.com. And I'm going to get out my stencil brush, and I'm just going to finish off. Now again, I'm only selecting to do pieces of it because I want it to look like the birds have movement as if they're traveling across the sky. I don't want it to look like it's a giant block. And so now this is technically our stencil is designed so that you could use it on a wall or a large craft, and you could potentially cover the whole thing with a flock of birds. But for this particular project, we are looking to only do pieces of it. So we are going to lift it back, and you can see now we almost want it to look like it's flying up across the sky. So again, we're going to reposition the stencil over here, and we're going to add some birds to finish off into the skyline.
Will the spray adhesive leave residue?
No, it will not leave a residue. We've given it some time to tack up onto the back of the stencil so that we don't have that problem. Okay, and so now...
Well, more recommendations are coming in. Copper and bronze would also make a great combination, one of our viewers said.
Copper and bronze could be very pretty.
How can people share this with their friends?
There's a share button right below the video tutorial. All you have to do is hit the share button, and your friends are going to be thanking you for sharing this creative idea with them.
Does this stencil come in any other sizes?
Yes, it does. It actually comes in several craft sizes, so if you wanted to use it for furniture or other artsy projects, you could. But it also comes in a full wall size. Okay, so I think that's all the birds that we are going to paint on here. What does everyone think? Do we have, hit the like button if you guys think that we should reveal our final canvas.
Yeah, the likes are flowing in, the hearts are flowing in right now.
You guys are ready to see it then. There we go. We have our birds. They're flying across our beautiful sky.
Oh, so many hearts and thumbs up.
All right, and now we are just going to pop this pretty work of art into a frame that we have right over here.
Oh my gosh, so many thumbs up are coming and it's crazy.
And then we will zoom in so you guys can see how this thing turned out. There we go. Take a look at that. Now we picked up a really inexpensive frame. It's a standard 2x3 frame over at the thrift shop. And it fits perfectly with our canvas, and the gold works really well. Does everyone like this project? If you like it, make sure you hit the heart and you share it with all of your friends. Don't forget, we use the stencil. It's from cuttingedgestencils.com. Use the code HOMETALK2017 to get 20% off. And we just want to thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you guys again next week.